Welcome back to Tight Lining Maryland, and let me be the first to thank you for all the support on my last video. With that said, I decided that I would come out to fish a little bit more, coming off of, you know, all of the encouragement and all the people that really liked that last video. We set some records there. You know, there was 1,500 views in about 24 hours. That's just insane. We're almost at 2,000 subs. Again, I really appreciate all of the genuine support. It really makes doing this a lot more pleasurable. But with all of that being said, today we're trying to challenge ourselves fishing in two different styles. We're gonna fish with a streamer, and we're gonna fish with a nymph setup that has a micro streamer on it. I don't know what we'll get into. I'm certainly hopeful that we get into a large fish, but at the end of the day, it's just nice to not be at work. And if we get one, that's a success. If we get 2, 3, or 4, all the better. But let's start fishing, and thank you for tuning back in. Let's explain a little about the setup and how we're going to approach the stream today. So what we've got is our Syndicate 10-foot 7-weight, and I think what I'll need to do at some point is really explain like how I selected this rod, but it's also paired with a behemoth reel. And with that said, we've got on our sink tip line. We've got on a nice meaty streamer, trying something a little bit new. It's got a little bit of flash. It's kind of looks like a miniature brown trout. But one of the things about today that's going to be a little different is, although we're going to fish some new as well as similar stretches that we've been on before, the water is just not nearly as high as what I've fished it previously. So for example, today the CFS is around 100. I'm just approximating that number, but I'm pretty confident that's around where it's at. When I fished this really successfully, that was at around 200 with streamers. So, you know, when the water's up, that typically lends itself to streamer fishing, not as much for nymphs. I'm not saying you can't, but it's just a little bit more conducive to successfully fishing streamers. So today, I see myself using some streamers in the deepest of holes, but then also nymphing because the riffles will be a little bit more pronounced. And honestly, it's going to be 63 degrees today. You know, the weather is absolutely beautiful. I can say that because I really intend on putting this film out if everything goes to plan. I'm going to put this film out like within a day or two of fishing it. So, you know, if you're on the East Coast and you're dealing with this heat wave that's coming in, I hope you have been able to get out and enjoy it, because, you know, Wednesday through Friday, the temps are going to be around 70 or at least the mid 60s. It's going to prime this water up. I already see blue wing olives popping left and right. It's not even 9 o'clock yet, and they're all over the place. So I can only imagine that soon enough, these fish are going to turn on to top water at some point soon. But for now, let's get to fishing. We're going to chuck this streamer around, and hopefully we'll pick up a few here on film for you. Just had a very large fish chase right here, but he did not take. He just eyeballed it again. There we go. There we go. That is a super nice fish. That is a really nice fish. Oh, we got him good, but I don't know how good. Not quite close enough. Come on, bud. Oh. There we go. There we go. That's a good fish. Alrighty, so a real stunner of a fish here, coming in at about 18 inches, and certainly something that, just look at the spots on his back, just a gorgeous fish. It's time to get this guy back. He is just about perfect. Dealing with a similar problem that I did a couple videos back. If you remember anything about that, I'll link it up top so that you can see it. But geese, I tell you, that's the downfall of spring. They start to come out in earnest, and then they start to protect nests. It's like all you have to do, you could fly downstream, you could fly way upstream, you could, I don't know, step off on the bank like the one did, but they won't get out of my way. And I know they're gonna swim right up through the section I want to fish. Ugh, geese. So I just hooked up with a nice brown on the micro streamer. I just realized I wasn't recording, so my deepest apologies. You'll have to believe that I did it on my own. I think after 100 plus videos, you probably trust me that, you know, I was able to get this guy. But anyway, let's get him reeled in. Nice looking fish. Way too much gear. We got a rod between our legs, a rod in our hands. Somebody's gonna say you gotta switch that reel over to reeling left-handed, or excuse me, right-handed. But let's get this brownie in. He was sitting right over there in the riffles. Boy, are we lucky we did not lose this fish yet. He was sitting right over in the riffle, and thankfully ate my micro streamer. Gorgeous fish. Well, the nice part about barbless hooks is they are quick to come out. These fish are gonna have the feed bags on here. You know, it's spring, the temps are coming up. He's probably about, I don't know, 13 inches or so. Alrighty, time to get this pretty little brown back to where he belongs. So let's do a little bit of explaining. I think, you know, as you've come to find out, that's really my goal about this channel. Is it's not just about catching fish. It really isn't. Catching fish are great. Like the idea that I got an 18-inch fish today, that blows my mind. That makes me super ecstatic. That's why we all do this. But at the end of the day, you know, catching an 18-inch fish is great, but what if that was luck? Like, is there something that I did that's repeatable? And it's all about the why. It's the process versus the outcome. So let me explain how this process kind of played out. The other rod that I've got with me is the staple of the channel. It's a 10-foot 3-weight Syndicate P2 pipeline, Lamson Liquid 4.5. I've got on my European nymphing setup, and if you have not seen the video for that, I'll put that in the description and link it up in the tags of this video as well. But I had already come through this exact spot and I'd use my streamers because, I mean, look at all this lay down, deeper water, you know, good moving water. You know, it's got an off-color tint to it with that emerald green. So to me, I wanted to start with streamers. That's exactly what I did. I came up, I worked this entire side. Then I went back, I grabbed my rod, which is now sitting over there. But what I did is I basically took this Euro setup, and what I have on there is two different things. I've got on a Perdigon nymph tied by me, and then I've got on a little olive micro streamer, again, tied by me. So with that said, I'm fishing this off-color water. I had no success with a big streamer, but I felt like, you know what, this has got to hold a fish. It's just a feeding current coming down. Great, great structure for a fish to be able to hold and feed. So for that reason, I worked the inside, then the middle, and then finally I got one on the outside where it's just a little bit slower. Fish haven't quite moved into the faster water yet. We're not quite, in full-blown spring and summer mode. And sure enough, I got that take. Unfortunately, I missed it on film and some of his amazing jumps, but we did at least get the fish on film. Why is that goose on top of the damn rock? Seriously, look at this. He is literally on top of a rock face. There are just some things that I will never, ever understand. Oh, look at all the turkeys go. Ooh, some big wild turkeys headed up into the woods. That's always pretty cool to see. Another wild turkey, there he goes. It's 4 of them. That's gonna wrap it up for today's session. We didn't get as many as I had hoped, but again, the goal is always reasonable. Get yourself one, and if you get any extras on top of that, it's just icing on the cake. We were just blessed to have gotten that huge fish to start. We made a couple changes. We thought about the process and, really tried to dial it in, and thankfully we were rewarded for that. So that big fish, which is, I would say, tied for, if not the biggest I've gotten in the river I'm on today, that basically is, something to be proud of. So although it wasn't quite the day I expected with all the warm weather that we've got, that fish in itself just alone was a success. So thank you for tuning back in. I greatly appreciate you watching, and tight lines when you hit the stream. I hope it's soon because this weather is getting to be unreal.